Yeah, my name is Carly.
And my name is Tommaso.
And yes, we are husband and wife, but also the owners of Bravino, which is an all-Italian wine club.
And yes, if you want to know how we met, I came here in 2015, straight from Tuscany. You know, I grew up in Montalcino. It's a small town in Tuscany and it's famous for wine. And my family actually owns a restaurant in this town. And I met there the owner of one of the most popular wineries here in Napa Valley. And he actually asked me to come here to work for him for a couple of years because, you know, I'm familiar with wines, I'm a sommelier, and I studied wines, and, you know, I could at the time speak English. So he offered me to come here, and I came here in 2015, and that's where I met Carly. Carly was working at the same winery.
Yeah, so when Tommaso came in 2015, I had already been working at the winery for maybe it was almost 5 years, 4.5. And when we met, we pretty much hit it off. I mean, obviously he's Italian. I'm from the Bay Area. I grew up right here in Marin. But my family is big Italian-American family. So grew up with a love of Italy, love of food and wine.
Yeah, that's right. Because when I came here, you know, I saw Carly right away and I tried to get her to go out and she didn't even respond to me for a while. And then at the end, because I asked my family to ship me like a case of wine from Montalcino, it was 2010 Brunellos from different wines, amazing selection. So I took a picture, I sent a message and I was like, if you want tonight, we can go out and drink a bottle together. And at that point, I got it.
I did it.
The way to my heart is always
Italian man.
And so we started Bravino. We started Bravino, as Carlotta said, because, you know, we wanted to import Italian wines. And honestly, you know, going out, we are wine lovers and we look always for like cool stuff to buy or cool stuff to try at the restaurant. And I don't know about all the United States, but in the Bay Area, in California, we were not so happy with the varieties, you know, because they're always the same producers. So big commercial wineries or the same, you know, denomination like Brunello, Barolo, Amarone, or a Vermentino. So we wanted to try this journey and say, let's see if we are able to do this and ship it directly to the members because, you know, the distribution, it's a different world, right?
Yeah, and we like selling direct to consumer, being personal with all of our wine club members, being able to share the stories behind all of the wines that we personally have hand selected, where all the wines come from, what we think makes them so special, and the story behind.
You want to explain how it works?
Oh yeah, and so basically how our wine club works is we do quarterly shipments, so we do 4 shipments a year, and every shipment we do is based off of a region of Italy. So if you're not familiar with Italy, Italy is made up of 20 different regions, and I always like to use the comparison, sort of like how the United States is made up of 50 states. And every region of Italy is a little bit different, so Italy is home to thousands of different grape varieties. And every region grows their own specific grapes. They have their own cuisines, for food and culture, and all goes hand in hand. So every shipment will focus on a region. We hand select 4 different wines from that region. So essentially we're bringing a taste of Italy to your door, to your home.
Yeah, we don't import any international varietals, no Cabernet Sauvignon, no Merlot, no Syrah, no Chardonnay, no Sauvignon Blanc, because we want to focus on Italian native grapes. And today we actually brought 4 wines that we decided to go for the not very popular grape varieties. Of course, we also have Barolo, Brunello, Barbera, all the famous ones, but today we want to introduce you 4 very special grapes of Italy.
Yeah, maybe lesser known. So if you're not familiar with any of these wines, that's why we're here today. We're here to introduce you, hopefully make you a little bit more familiar. So yeah, we have 2 whites and 2 reds. The first white wine we have here is our 2018. It's a Fiano di Avellino, produced by Tenuta Cavalier Pepe, and this actually comes from the region of Campania, which is more southern Italy. So this is the region home of Naples, Napoli, the Amalfi Coast, Mount Vesuvio, Vesuvius, Pompeii. So maybe places you might be familiar with or have visited before. The second white wine we'll try next will be the 2018 𝐁𝐫𝐈𝐍𝒂, which is made by Cinzia Bergaglio. And this white wine comes from the north of Italy. So we're going to go up to Piedmont, Piemonte. And this area is famous, of course, for Barolo, Barbera, truffles, and tartufo. Then we have our two different reds. So the first red we have is our 2018 Nero di Troia, which is produced by Tenuta Viglione, and this producer is located in Puglia. So southern Italy, this would be the heel of the boot. And then for the last red, we go back up more to central Italy. The wine's called Folle. It's a Rosso Conero Riserva, produced by La Calcinara, and this comes from Le Marche. So Marche region is more central, and it's located right next to Tuscany. So just to give you an idea of the 4 wines we selected, and then we'll go through one wine at a time.
All right.
So the first wine we're going to start with, Tommaso is going to open right now, is the Fiano di Avellino. So before we talk a little bit about the wine and the grape, we're going to talk first just a little bit about the winery and the producer, because most of the time when we're selecting wine, we choose from small family-owned producers that really have a story, we resonate with them. So this producer is really special. We actually first met them in 2018 at a wine tasting event that was held in Las Vegas, which is kind of funny. It's called Simply Great Italian Wines. And this wine event is all about bringing different producers to the US and trying to introduce them to importers like ourselves. So at this tasting, we went around, tasted a bunch of different wines, but Tenuta Cavalier Pepe really stood out to us. We really liked their wines. We actually met them again later that year in 2019 at Vin Italy at a wine tasting event. They hosted us. We had a great time again. They gave us a tasting of all the wines. They gave us a spread kind of like what we have in front of us with cheeses, charcuterie. And then later that year, we actually went to the winery and visited them in person. And it's a beautiful estate. They're not just a winery, but they actually have their own restaurant. They have a B&B. So if you ever want to go and stay there, they're amazing. We always recommend, if you can, visit the wineries in person. After COVID, of course, when hopefully borders open up and we can travel. But really a great family. And I'll let you tell them a little bit more about them.
And the wine is made with Fiano. You know, Fiano is a native grape of the area of the Irpinia region. Irpinia is the area that surrounds Avellino, the main city of the area. And, you know, it's a popular area for, you know, for wine. I don't know if you're more familiar with Aglianico. You know, the Aglianico Irpinia takes the name of Taurasi. It's one of the most important DOCGs of Italy, but they're also famous for the white wines because, you know, it's a very hilly area and it's closer to the ocean, to the sea, to the Mediterranean Sea. That brings all these characteristics. And honestly, you trying the wine, if you picture where it comes from, you can feel it. Because, you know, the wind that comes from the Mediterranean Sea brings the saltiness to this wine. It's not a technical, it's not a technical word to describe a wine, the saltiness. But like with my friends, we always say that, you know, when the grapes are grown close to the ocean, you feel the saltiness in the sense that you never get tired of it. You get to drink a glass and then you want to drink another glass and then you want to drink another glass. And the other thing is all the Campania area. It's actually famous for volcanic soil. You know, they have the famous volcano of Vesuvius, the Vesuvius volcano that brings this sulfur notes to the wines. Honestly, if we, you know, look together, the color of the wine, you know, it's a very light, it's a pale straw yellow. And if you smell it, the first thing is the sulfur.
Mm-hmm.
like you get these hints of sulfur that makes this wine so complex. If you swirl it a little bit, then you start to get all the flavors of the grape varietal. So you get this citrus, you get this like green apple. It's tart fruit, not like ripe fruit. And you know, you don't smell any alcohol. That's what we love about Italian whites. You know, the difference between Californian whites, most, of course, is not like a rule, but most of the Californian whites, they usually use oak aging for the whites also. It's very hard to find, you know, oak aged whites in Italy. And this is the perfect example because you get this freshness, this great acidity that makes it awesome with all the seafood, especially. That's what we usually suggest, you know, with a wine like this, honestly, it's a perfect seafood wine. And, you know, being in Naples, you know, Naples area, it's really, really famous for seafood dishes. And if you've never been, I suggest to go and try some food there because it's some of the best food of Italy. And if you want to go ahead with the taste.
Just so you know, I am spitting, but I'm spitting because I'm pregnant. So I wish I could be swallowing and drinking with you, but I'm spitting for that reason.
Yeah, in the mouth, you can actually feel it. It doesn't have any creaminess. You know, the creaminess that you usually feel in the whites comes from the malolactic fermentation and our barrel aging. This is just stainless steel, and it's so bright, it's so easygoing, and you never get tired of a wine like this. And
the other characteristics, so Fiano, the grape, is known for being very aromatic. So you'll notice when you smell it, it really jumps out of the glass. You get all these really fresh fruits, green apples, pears, peaches, delicate notes of white flowers. So very floral, fresh, fruity, and nice notes of citrus. And yeah, you can definitely taste the acidity and sapidity Tommaso was talking about. So the influence of the Mediterranean Sea and those cool breezes, warm days to ripen the fruit, cool evenings to balance out the acidity as well. And so with our wines, if you didn't already know, all of our wines, they come with QR codes. So on the back, we always put a QR code. So when you scan it, it actually will bring you up to a web page. And the web page is basically giving you all the information that we're saying right now, but it'll give you the background on the winery, the wine, the grape, the producer. But we also give food pairing suggestions and recipes because in Italy, that's another main difference between the United States and Italy is in Italy, you'll hardly ever see an Italian drink wine without food. It just doesn't happen. They always drink with food, whether it's with an aperitivo, with like what we have, cheeses, nuts, charcuterie, or with a meal. So we always give suggestions, but we also give a regional recipe pairing. So the recipe, if you would like to try it, if you scan the QR code, it's for a calamariata pasta, which is very typical of the area. So you probably all had calamari, and that's kind of what the pasta looks like, are like little calamari tubes. And the way the pasta is prepared is with squid, calamari tubes, and tomatoes. And so you cook it, saute it all together. And what also makes this dish really unique is you don't cook the pasta all the way. So you actually take it out a little bit early and you will bake it for the second half in the oven. So that way the flavors of the seafood, they really come together into the pasta and it just tastes of the sea. And also, like Tommaso was saying, we love this wine with seafood. So with the seafood pasta, it's just perfect.
And this is the Fiano. How do you like it? Do you guys like it?
Very nice.
Yeah, it's great. It would be a great
Lovely.
summertime afternoon wine.
Oh yeah, we drink a lot of this in summer. All day long, morning, noon, and night, definitely.
And I'm not really a white person. I'm more for reds, but this is good.
Oh, good, nice. We'll take that. We'll turn you into a white wine drinker.
Okay.
Good, because we have too much red in the house.
Is that what you like to drink? Do you drink more white wines or?
I do, yeah.
Nice. That's nice though, that you both drink a little bit of everything. Did you have any questions about Fiano at all?
I don't think so.
The second one.
All right, we'll try the second wine then.
You did a good job.
Okay.
So-
The second one.
So the second one we're going to try for the white is going to be the Grifone delle Rovere. That's what the winery named the wine, but the actual type of wine is called a 𝐿𝑎𝑣. And the producer is Cinzia Bergaglio. So again, a little bit about the producer. We first met them at Vin Italy back in 2018. So we had already
Spain was beneath it.
okay, so yeah, Vin Italy, sorry. If you're not familiar with Vin Italy is a huge wine fair. It's the most famous wine fair in Italy, and it's basically where all the producers of Italian wine come together at one place, and it's held in the city of Verona and Veneto in northern Italy, and there are thousands of producers. So they're all at one place from all different parts of Italy. So for us, we normally go every year because it's a great place to meet all of our producers all at one event. So yeah, we met them at Vin Italy, and we'd already heard a little bit about the producer through friends and in Montalcino when we're in Italy. So we were very excited to meet them. So we came to their table and we were greeted by Michele and Mattia, and they're actually the second generation running this winery. The winery was originally started by their parents, Cinzia and Massimo, so their kids are running it now. And we really connected with them. They're very young, vibrant, youthful people, really ambitious and excited to, bring this new energy into the winery. And they're also very small. Again, that's our kind of specialty. So they only produce 35,000 bottles. So extremely tiny. We're their only importer right now in the US.
Yeah. And yes, so if you want to know a little bit about the 𝐿𝑎𝑣, so it's a little confusing like all the Italian wines. That's why we also love Bravino, because we can give a better idea of all this crazy denomination of Italy. Because 𝐿𝑎𝑣, and then the grapes is Cortese. Cortese is a native grape of the area, and 𝐿𝑎𝑣, it's actually town of Piedmont. It's not in the Langhe area, it's in the southwest part of Piedmont, very close to Liguria. Liguria is right northern of Tuscany. I don't know, to make it easy, I always say where Cinque Terre is. So lots of Americans know Cinque Terre, so it's easy to explain that. And they got lots of culture from Liguria more than from Piedmont actually. And it's a little confusing because there is 𝐿𝑎𝑣 and then there is 𝐿𝑎𝑣 del Comune di Ghvi, because they wanted to make different. So the 𝐿𝑎𝑣, what we are importing, it's a smaller area. It's a DOCG, smaller area, considered higher end, than the 𝐿𝑎𝑣 del Comune di Ghvi. And being in Piedmont, it's a very popular wine in in Italy, because, Piedmont for winemaking is probably the main region of Italy, even more than Tuscany. But Cortese is not so popular. The most important wines of Piedmont, maybe you heard about it, is Barolo, Barbera, Dolcetto. For the whites, maybe even Arneis. It's more popular than Cortese. Arneis, we also imported Arneis from another winery, and as a second white wine of Piedmont. This is the first one, Cortese, and it's 𝐿𝑎𝑣. And the reason why we imported these guys, she said, because it's a very small winery. Actually, they are located in one of the few crus. So a cru, it's basically the most important vineyard. It's a single vineyard wine. So the name of the cru is Rovereto. It's considered one of the best area for producing 𝐿𝑎𝑣. And lots of complexity in this wine. If you want to go through the tasting, you want to do the first part?
Oh yeah, definitely. So this one you'll notice is very elegant. It's very delicate. Immediately I smell lots of fresh fruits. So you'll get nectarines and peaches, a little bit of tangerines, citrus, very, very delicate. A little less aromatic than the Fiano too. The Fiano grape is a little bit more aromatic, so this is just a little bit softer than that grape as well. And then if you guys want to taste it.
I liked it good the first sip, but then
Mm. And this one too, like most of the Italian whites, you'll notice it's very bright, very vibrant. So you get that mouth-watering acidity to it. You get really nice minerality, so it kind of makes your tongue tingle a little bit. And just very fresh and very vibrant.
Yeah, I feel it's a little drier than the other one. You know, the other one was more like aromatic, like she said, so a little bit more floral. I think there is also a little bit higher residual sugar than this one. And the reason is because also where it's located. You know, the Campania, it's on the ocean. Piedmont, it doesn't have any ocean or no ocean, because in Italy we don't have oceans, we have a sea. But you know, the sea is not close to the area. It's more, you get more this acidity, you know, and this minerality. The minerality of this wine is great, you know, because it comes from a soil that is not anymore volcanic soil, but is more chalky, and there is, you know, calcareous and limestone, and you get more minerality. If you actually keep it a little longer on your palate, you can see a little bit tingling on your palate. And that's for the minerality. The minerality makes it really good with food, and, you know, with something more, this is a more full body wine than the other one. You know, the other one was a little lighter, very good with seafood. This one you can go to pair with even something more important. And, you know, like all the Italian wines, we go always for, you know, regional recipe to pair with. And actually for this wine, we decided to do the Gorgonzola risotto. You know, the Gorgonzola is the DOP of Piedmont, and it's an amazing risotto if you do together, you know, and Gorgonzola, it's a DOP of Piedmont. That's why it's a very good pairing with this wine. You know, it's not too much, because if you never tried Gorgonzola, it's a little less strong. It's a little less strong than the blue cheese here. That's what I feel always. Yeah. And with the creaminess of the risotto, you know, because how you cook it with the broth, the stock, and slowly cooked with the Gorgonzola, it's very fatty because of the cheese, and it's also very creamy. And this acidity and minerality, it's the perfect pairing for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really balances out. Actually, the risotto Gorgonzola is one of our absolute favorites. And we actually just cooked it for dinner a week ago. It was last week. So yeah, really great pairing to kind of contrast the richness with the acidity. So it's a perfect balance.
Yeah, Michelle just found the recipe. You can guaranteed that we're going to be making that soon.
Yes,
Gorgonzola is a favorite.
Oh, good. You'll have to let us know how it goes.
We have to get another bottle of wine, because I'm sure this one will be gone before we get to it.
It's really good.
Yeah.
You know, one of my favorite wines.
Oh yeah, we love 𝐺𝑒.
And I think they're doing a really good job.
Yeah.
Because 𝐺𝑒 is famous, but not so many great producers. You know, sometimes it's hard to find a great producer for small denomination like we do. So it's a lot of research to find these people, but this is a great one. Well made, you know, it's like balanced, and it's a great one.
We feel like it's one of our hidden gem finds. I know we think that of most of the wines we find, but truly we're really, really proud to represent them and have them in our portfolio, and then share the wines with you guys so you guys get to enjoy. Yeah, any questions about the 𝐺𝑒?
It's okay. Question.
I didn't know if people have questions.
Okay, let's go ahead.
All right, who's ready for reds?
He's ready for it.
I know he's ready.
Ready.
So the first red that we are going to start with is this one right here, which is the 2018 Nero di Troia. So this one's kind of a fun story. So we actually met these guys, this producer, at, I don't know if you've heard it because you're from the Bay Area, but it's called Tre Bicchieri Gambero Rosso. It's a wine tasting event, and it's actually held every year in San Francisco, mainly for people in the trade, so importers, wholesalers like ourselves. But this producer was there. Saverio was the one representing the winery. And as I was walking around the tasting, I actually immediately stopped because the first thing I noticed was actually the label.
The label is pretty cool.
The label's beautiful. So I don't know if you can tell, but they're actually, the design is based off of ceramic tiles.
Mhm.
So this wine comes from Puglia, which is southern Italy. This would be like the region at the heel of the boot. And Puglia is famous for these ceramic towns. So when you'll travel around, you'll find them everywhere. So I loved the label. And then the other thing I actually noticed was Nero di Troia. So the grape that it's made from, me personally, I was not even familiar with that grape until I came across that table. So I immediately went up, I introduced myself to Saverio, who was there representing the winery, and asked to try his wines. And I immediately fell in love with this red. Because to me, this is such a great, like almost everyday red wine. And it's very easy, it's very bright, it's very complex. You get these rich, dark fruits and like soaked in liquor notes. You get a little bit of earthiness and funk. We'll taste it in just a second, so I'm getting ahead of myself. But really fell in love with the producer, and we love them so much. We actually met them again at Vin Italy the following year. And then later that same year, we actually went to Puglia in August, and we spent 2 weeks doing an entire road trip, going all around, visiting different towns, the different wineries and producers. And we had a beautiful tour at the estate too.
Yeah.
And you can talk a little bit more about the territory as well.
Yeah, of course. You know, it's Puglia. It's like California in the sense that it never rains. Like it's a very dry region of Italy. I don't know if you're like familiar with the Italy shape. It's like the hill, so it doesn't get rain even if it's only like 20 miles from the sea. This wine doesn't have that great acidity. It's a little different. I love this wine because it's different from most of the Italian wines, because it doesn't have this bright acidity because it's very dry. It's a very dry area, so they overripe the fruit like here in California, for example, Napa Valley or Sonoma, and you get like a medium acidity in this wine. That's why I always say people, this is one of the few wine that you can actually drink itself, because the acidity is not gonna bother you. You don't need food, but it's also really good with food like all the Italian wines. And you know, it's a very, 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 very rare grape varietal. Even in Puglia, there is just few producers. You know, Puglia is famous for Primitivo, it's famous for Negro Amaro. That was I was going for, you know, during my research, I was going for Primitivo, Negro Amaro, and then Carly fell in love with this Nero di Troia. And they actually are considered the best producers for Nero di Troia in all Puglia. And Nero di Troia, it's a different, you know, it's very, I always feel like some of the French wines can be similar to this in the taste, of course, nothing to do with France, but in the sense that you feel it. It's a little more fruit forward than most of the Italian wines. And the story behind the grape is pretty cool, because really there is just few producers, there is just few vineyards of Nero di Troia. They say that it comes from Greece, the original varietal. There is the legend that they say that, I don't know if I'm saying it right, because I was in the Iliad, the epic novel, you know, the Iliad, they say that Diomedes, after, you know, conquered Troy, he decided to take some vines from Troy, that is now in Turkey, basically, and he brought it to the coast of Italy, where Puglia is. And he planted these vines in Italy. That's why Nero di Troia. Nero di Troia means black of Troy. So, because it comes from Troy. So it's a really rare varietal. Even in Italy, lots of Italians don't know it. And you know, this wine, it's different because I said, doesn't have, it actually ages in oak, like, you know, most of the reds also in Italy. This one, like 30% of the juice is aged in big barrels, oak barrels, not in the smaller one. Only 30%, 70% is in stainless steel. So has some oak notes, but you get this, this fruitiness that is very special. I honestly get this violet. If you smell a violet in a field, the flower, the violet flower, it's the same smell in my opinion.
I feel like you also get a little bit of like star anise, a little bit of spices. When I taste it, I already got ahead of myself. I already drank a little bit, but I also feel like I get a little bit of cocoa powder. So you almost get that like chocolate taste on the finish. And yeah, really nice like bright cherries. So you get a little sour cherry, you get a little blackberry, a little bit of plum. So that red-black fruit combination. And the other thing you'll notice is the color is very dark. So one of the reasons they do call the grape also Black of Troy is this specific type of grape, when it's ripened, is extremely dark pigmented. So very dark in color. It has thicker skin, so you'll get a lot of aromas, you'll get a lot of flavors. The polyphenols, so those are giving a lot of the complexities too to the wine.
And the tannins.
And the tannins too. So the skins of the grape are where you get the tannins. So tannins give you that dryness, make your mouth pucker a little bit. So you will definitely feel the tannins are present, but they're still very elegant and smooth. Definitely really easy drinking wine, enjoyable, super food friendly.
And I suggest sometimes you can, I don't know if I said that already, but you can put in the fridge like an hour before drinking it. And this wine you can also chill a little bit, in my opinion, if you want to drink itself without food, but it's also really good with food. And the pairing that we did with this wine is actually really cool, because you can feel it is like a sour wine. It's nothing to do with what do you find maybe in California. It doesn't have it's very sour, and it's actually really good if you pair with something sour as well.
So yeah, the recipe pairing we chose, again, when you scan the QR code, is for orecchiette con cime di rapa. So Puglia in particular is famous for this type of pasta, the orecchiette, which gets its name's little ears. So the pasta almost looks like these little ears, and the cime di rapa is basically, in English we call it broccoli rabe. So it's kind of like a bitter broccoli. Regular broccoli is a little sweeter, so the cime di rapa has a little bit more bitterness. And like Tommaso was saying, the bitterness in the wine with the bitterness of the broccoli rabe really pairs beautifully together. It's also prepared with sausage, so the sausage will give you a little bit of spices and fennel, and it's just an amazing pairing with this wine, and very traditional, very pugliese, so to speak.
And it's actually one of the best-selling wines of Bravino.
Oh yeah, a lot of people really love this one. Everyone tells us, oh, this is great everyday wine, weeknight wine.
It's different when people work sometimes.
Yeah. How do you guys like this one?
Now, with every sip, I get a sensation on my palate. What is that from? I mean, usually something like that goes away with the second and third sip, but for this one, it doesn't.
It does this, what do you mean?
Like a sparkling.
Yeah, it's like,
it's not sparkling, it's the minerality.
It's
This is,
Yeah.
this it's not bubbles, because there is
Right.
no bubbles.
yeah, no, there's no bubbles.
You get in your palate is actually the minerality of the wine.
So
As you
the,
said earlier, yeah.
exactly. So it kind of, I see what you're saying, like sparkling. Yeah, it kind of feels like bubbles. It kind of
Right.
tingles your tongue.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
So the minerality, how can you define that?
It's
Can you define it?
absolutely.
Yeah, that's a really good question, because when you study sommelier, that's actually a term that they don't like to use because it's hard to describe. But basically the minerality, it comes from just minerals in the soil. So when the grapes are ripening, it picks up those flavors, the flavors of minerals, of stones, of rocks, and then it'll bring that sensation in your palate.
Anyone in particular? Like any particular mineral?
Usually, it's this one, the soil where these grapes are grown is still like a limestone and chalk. So that typical minerals that you get in the wine.
Yeah, very calcareous too.
Do you like it, or is it too different?
Yeah, no, it's very good.
Very nice.
Honestly, we are here, talking about it, and for my taste, I was not a fan of this wine when I tried because I'm Italian. I'm used to that style of wine. She loved it so much, and I was like, okay, we should buy it. And actually, it's one of the best-selling wines because probably it's different from all the others. That's why we like it tonight.
Yeah.
Because people don't know this grape varietal. Even in Italy, I tried it just for tasting in my wine class, but I never bought any bottle.
Mm-hmm.
But it's having lots of success for us, so
Mm-hmm.
it's a good surprise for me, for myself, because she always loved it.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to promote the wine too more. So the grape's called Nero di Troia, but it'll also be called Uva di Troia, which means grape of Troy. They're kind of trying to mimic the success of Nero d'Avola. If you've ever had a Nero d'Avola, and that's from Sicily, the island of Sicily. It's a pretty successful grape, and so they're kind of trying to piggyback off that, like Nero d'Avola, Nero di Troia. So you can kind of see some similarities in the name too. But that's why we're proud to represent this grape, showcase it in our wine club. So spread the word, so to speak. So make people a little bit more familiar with Nero di Troia. All right, should we try red wine number 2?
Yeah, it's time for the Folle.
So the last wine that we brought with us tonight to try, the wine is named Folle, and the wine is actually a Rosso Conero Riserva, 2016. The producer is La Calcinara. It's kind of a fun name. So in Italian, Folle actually means foolish, crazy, or mad. So the winery decided to actually name this wine Folle, sort of to tribute people who chase their dreams. And sometimes when you follow or chase your dreams, it makes you appear foolish or crazy, but it doesn't mean you should stop. And that's kind of a name we really liked for fun because I feel like you should always follow your dreams. I mean, it's something we certainly did with Bravino. Starting a company is really scary and you don't know if people will like your idea or like what you're doing. So we loved the name. The winery is really nice too. So do you want to tell them a little bit about the winery?
Yeah, I want to just say, this is a totally different style of wine than the other ones. That's why we love to we decided to bring these wines because they are 2 different kinds of whites and 2 different kinds of reds. Here we are talking about the style that I personally like the most. This is a cool winery. So I met this guy actually, and he's a really, it's a young guy, and I met him during my sommelier, research, because he's almost my age and he's very talented, and he, studied in Italy, France, New Zealand, Australia. So he's a really, really good winemaker. Paolo, yes.
Paolo is his name.
And the area. So this one comes from Marche. Marche is in the east coast of Italy. It's next to Tuscany. And it's very famous for white wines. I don't know if you ever heard about like Verdicchio dei Castelli di Jesi or the Pecorino. They're very famous for all these white varietals. And they also, lately in the last 10 years, they created this denomination that is called Conero Rosso Riserva. It's the only DOCG for the red wines in the Marche area. And is made with Montepulciano. I'm sure you are familiar with the Montepulciano d'Abruzzo. This is not Montepulciano d'Abruzzo. This is Montepulciano di Marche. And, it's a little confusing like every time because, Montepulciano is the name of a town in Tuscany that makes Nobile di Montepulciano. So that's totally different wine. That's made with Sangiovese. It is from Tuscany. This one is Montepulciano grape, made in Marche, that takes the name Conero Rosso Riserva. And it's a great wine in my opinion. It's, very, very, very small winery. They only make 3,500 bottles all the
Mhm.
wine, 3,500 bottles. And this is their main wine.
Mhm.
Okay, this is 100% Montepulciano d'Abruzzo. Sorry, Montepulciano. It's aged 18 months in French oak barrels, so you can feel this more approachable wine.
Mhm.
I think this is more approachable than the other one. It's a
Mhm.
little smoother. And the winery is located in Conero. Conero is a mountain in the Marche area that goes into the ocean. So it basically, they grow these grapes in vineyards that they are on a steep hillside facing the Adriatic Sea. So this wine has the typical minerality, but not so much.
Yeah.
But he has more acidity and this saltiness, sapidity that I always say for Italian
Mhm.
wines.
Yeah. And you'll notice too with the aromas, this is going to be fuller than the Nero di Troia. So that one was a little bit lighter, more medium body. So this is a little richer, a little heavier. You'll get those really nice dark fruits. So lots of blackberries, currants. It's a little bit earthy, a little bit spicy. You can definitely smell French oak because you get those hints of vanilla and, kind of sweet baking spices.
Mhm.
So right off the bat in the aromas, you can definitely tell it's going to be a bit bigger of a wine. And then when we taste it, and in the mouth too, you can definitely taste it's a little bit richer, a little bit smoother than the last one. You can definitely feel that it has more tannins than the Nero di Troia, but they're still very elegant, very complex. So it's really harmonious. I feel like you get a lot of flavors going on, fruits, spices, earth. Very, very elegant.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's very balanced. For
Mhm.
like how it's made, like the skills of the winemaker. For me, this is one of the best wine that we have in our portfolio because it's really, really well done. It's very balanced. I feel like it's good acidity, good tannins, good alcohol content, and it's not, some of the Italian wines like the Nero di Troia, I was a little scared because they are more harsh in the sense that, oh, you love it, or you hate it. This one, I think you can give to everyone is gonna love this wine because it's very approachable, smoother, like a little softer with less tannins, less personality maybe, but I love it. I love this wine.
Very complex. And this is great wine too for like right now for winter and fall, because this time of year you tend to enjoy richer dishes and meats and stews, hard cheeses, Parmesan. So this is great for fall and winter food pairings. So we love to enjoy this one this time of year in particular. And the recipe pairing that we actually chose for this wine is a really fun one. It's called Vincis Grassi. Very traditional of the Marche area. And basically it's kind of like a lasagna or a pasta al forno. And it's prepared with mushrooms, truffle, and prosciutto. So you get all of these really rich, flavorful flavors, and the richness of the dish and the richness of this wine is just perfect. Like the perfect fall food, especially now is still kind of that truffle season, mushroom season, just a really beautiful pairing. But yeah, what do you guys think of this wine?
It's good. I think I like the Nero di Troia better, but it's definitely very good.
Nice. I'm glad.
Yeah, this was very unique. I'm intrigued by this one.
Yeah,
It's very
I'm
good.
glad you feel that way because that's how I felt. When I tried it, I was like so intrigued and I was so like, this wine is mysterious, it's different.
I think I need to try both.
How are you, Lisa?
I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you.
You guys are doing awesome.
Oh, thank you. Just so you guys know, all the other friends at the tasting, Lisa is actually one of our wine club members. So she's been in our wine club for a little while now.
Yeah,
And
not long enough.
you've drank them already, so.
I did.
always have the tastings you go through things after you get the bottles as part of your wine club? Is this a common thing?
So, this is actually our very first virtual tasting we've done. So we've never done a virtual tasting before, but it's something we've always been intrigued by the thought. I mean, we've done in-person tastings, just never virtually. But maybe now going forward, it's something that we can definitely do more of for our members.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're doing an excellent job.
Yeah, it's very fun. Yeah.
Extremely informative.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Here's a tip. So if we get the recipes before, we could actually make something while we're tasting.
Carlotta was saying, you should. And I was like, we don't want to force people, to be there and cook for a while, because the recipes are like,
Oh, well, we would cook before so we could drink.
Yeah.
next time we
I
will.
know. We were like, we don't know if anyone's going to want to do a 𝑵𝒐𝒏𝒆 or risotto or cook all this before.
Oh, that's a good part of the fun right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can do it next time. Next
Yeah,
time we do it.
definitely. I know. Next time.
Just a thought. I would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can cook while you're tasting the reds.
There you go. That works too. We can do a cooking, drinking, tasting party.
Exactly.
Yeah, we can do.
So what did you prepare in front of you? Since we are talking about pairing, what did you have like for snacks over there?
What did you
Oh,
prepare?
us? I know I didn't even eat anything because we were talking about time.
I did.
Well, Tommaso was. I guess I wasn't. But we have a little prosciutto, mortadella. We have some parmigiano. We have a pecorino cheese with tartufo, so truffles. Classic brie. I have some just grapes, some crackers, and some almonds. Mandorle
Nice.
in Italiano.
Mandorle.
Mandorle, sì. So the classic aperitivo. Yes.
Good. Do you have any questions for Carly and Tommaso?
I do, actually, if they can share with us. I'm curious. So you go to the wine tastings and you select wineries, and then, I mean, do you sort of like put in your orders once a year, or is this a constant? Are you always looking for new things? How do you curate your wines?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
We get to go to Italy a lot because I'm Italian and we own a house in Italy. And so we spend in Italy, usually not this year. This year we just went for 2 weeks in January, 3 weeks in January, because then it was not possible anymore.
Yeah.
You were lucky you got there.
Good timing.
Yeah.
Usually we spend in Italy like 2-3 months per year, at least. And I told you I own a restaurant in Tuscany, so I always been in the wine because I always took care of the wine list at the restaurant. So I know lots of wineries. So between my knowledge, my connections, and like my friends' connections, I get to know lots of very good names that they are not popular. So when we go in Italy, we actually drive around and we go visit everyone. We don't import except this year. This year, actually, for Christmas, we did like a sparkling shipment, like for December. The last one was just a sparkling, if you want to show it.
Oh, yeah,
like a sparkling shipment. And we couldn't go back in Italy. So I had to ask them to send me samples. And I know this one already because I already drank it, but I had to ask for samples to ship them here. But usually we like to go and visit the wineries. You can see it also in the pages. We always take videos and pictures because we want to make you feel like you are in Italy. Like when you drink these wines. That's our goal, And one day we would like to start also doing tours, like taking our members to Italy.
Okay, you need to sign us up for that.
Yes,
We're on board.
That's our plans for the future for Bravino. Yeah, we would love to bring you and our members to the actual wineries that, we import and get in the shipment. So that's definitely something, maybe in 2021, maybe in 2022. Obviously this year kind of changed a lot of things for us and for everyone. But that's definitely an idea we have going forward, because we think a lot of people, they love experiencing the wine at home and having Italy brought to their homes, but we would love to bring the people to Italy too and experience it there firsthand as well. But yeah, also to answer your question, we're constantly looking year round. So actually, since we're talking about it, we are actually buying wine right now for shipments for 2021. So we already have 2 different regions. We don't want to give too many spoilers away, because usually we like to surprise people, but we already have the 2 regions for the first 2 months of 2021 planned out. So right now we've already tasted the wines. They've already sent us the samples here. We've tried them. We haven't gone to all the wineries because, again, this year we weren't able to go, but we've at least tasted the wines. We've talked to them virtually and, through Zoom and over the phone. So yeah, we're buying right now for the first half of the year, but then we'll need to also buy wine for the second half of the year. So we're basically buying wine year round, constantly researching through his connections. Also through other friends. We have friends throughout Italy, so whenever we know we're going to be in a region, one of our sparkling wines is really fun. The producer is called Mirabella, and it's a Franciacorta. It's actually located in the region of Lombardy or Lombardia, and we actually met the producer through one of our friends, Luca, who's from Milano, and which is not far away from that territory. So we asked him as a local, we said, Luca, what are your favorite producers of Franciacorta? Because we're looking for something high quality, a small family owned. And he knew the winery really, really well and connected us. They sent us the samples. We fell in love. We love them so much. We actually bought 2 wines. So that's also how we'll meet the wineries too, is through friends that we have throughout Italy.
But just for this year.
Yeah.
Because usually we go. We
go.
like to go. We like to go and visit.
Tommaso, where do you ship your wine for your club members? Just in California?
All over the US. So our club members, because we don't have like a brick and mortar shop, everything is online. But our club members are across the US. We have, of course, club members throughout California, Bay Area, Southern California, club members in New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Texas, Colorado, Kansas, Virginia. Pretty much we can ship everywhere. The only states that we aren't able to ship to are Utah and Mississippi.
So we you can ship to Michigan?
We ship to Michigan. Yeah, we have some club members in Michigan too.
Yeah, this is good for gift.
I can send.
Yeah, and to your friend. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Don't do that. They're good.
Yeah, no, this time of year we've actually already gotten a few like holiday gift orders, especially because of the COVID and not being able to travel. People who want to bring Italy to people's homes. We have a member in New York who actually gifted one of our shipments, our Campania shipment, to their brother-in-law because they'd been to the Amalfi and they wanted to like kind of ship them that experience from home. So the Campania shipment is a way to bring that area of Italy to their home. So instead of going and traveling there, they get to experience it from their home too.
Nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks everybody for joining us. Of course, you can go and visit their website. And if you have any other questions, you can reach out to them directly. Also for you that were with us today, you will receive a 15% discounts for future purchases on their website. So of course, thank you for staying with us tonight. Yeah.
This was very enjoyable. Thank you very much.
Fun.
Yes, very
much.
Yeah.
Being here, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. And happy holidays to everybody.
You too.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Buon Natale.
Buon Natale.
Natale. Buon anno nuovo.
And if you have questions, just email us.
Oh yeah, we're always around. Shoot us an email, message, whatever. If you have any questions, we're always happy to answer.
We'll be in touch.
Good.
Thank you.
Grazie mille.
Thank you. Buona feste, salute.
Ciao. Cristina.
Ciao Lisa.
Ciao, Lisa. So good to see you.
How long is that? A half hour?